Welcome to today's session from Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are going to cover the first 9 verses of chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. First verse of chapter 6, Dhyana Yoga is Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritah Karam Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sa Sannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Nirgnam Ginam Na Nirginarna Chakriyaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Verse 2. Yam sannyasam iti prahur yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya annash asanyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana. What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga or linking oneself with the Supreme, O son of Pandu, for one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Verse 3. Arurokshor munir yogam karma karanamuchyate yoga rudhasya tasyeva shamaha karanam uchyate. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. Verse 4. Yada hi Nendriyartheshu na karmasva anusajjate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudhas tadochyate. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Verse 5. Uddhared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmev atmano bandhur atmeva ripur atmanah. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Verse 6. Bandhur atma tamanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Verse 7. Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitah shitoshna sukha dukkheshu tathamana pamanayoh. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Jnana vijnana triptatma kutasto vijitendriyaha yukta ityuchyate yogi samaloshtra shamakakshanaha. A person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Verse 9. Surin mitrari udasina madhyastha deveshya bandhushu sadhushva apicha papeshu samabuddhira vishishyate. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutrals, the mediators, and the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. So now we are saying that in this we are going to read about mind in this chapter in Dhyana Yoga. It is going to continue from chapter 5 where we left, and where it was established that how we should live a life in such a way that in spite of doing all our daily activities, mundane activities, we will still be situated in the Bhakti Yoga, because we will be offering our fruits of labor, of our activities to the Lord, because we understand He is the proprietor, He is the owner, He is the enjoyer. He has given us all the faculties, whether to carry on in our material life. He has given us the material body, and He empowers us. He has given us the soul, the consciousness, which enables us to do everything in this world. And also, it's so easy to do bhakti when the focus of your life is Lord Himself. Now in Dhyana Yoga, in the first verse, the focus is on the person, which is Krishna, Supreme Person, Krishna. Now God is telling Arjun that a person who is not attached to the fruits of his work and who is working as he is obliged is in the renounced order of life. So he is a truly renounced person. That person is not a mystic. He is the true mystic, sorry. And the person who is not doing his duties, who is not performing his daily activities, and who is very much attached to the results of his activities, that won't be a renounced state of life. So this person who is performing all his duties without being attached to them, without being attached to the fruits of the labor, he understands that whatever he will get is his rightly qualified share in life. So he doesn't endeavor too hard as well in his life. Now this person is living a life of a true yogi according to Krishna. So this person is going to go about his daily activities in his life. He'll be looking after the family. He's doing everything. But now this person is not doing anything extra special. All he's doing is that he is understanding his position in relation to Supreme Personality of Godhead. That he is part and parcel of the Paramatma, form of God, which is situated within his heart, who is watching him all the time as a witness to his activity and activities, and who actually sanctions his activities as well, because we have got the free will given to us by the Lord. Now this person is going to be doing the Karma Yoga, but because he is not attached to the activities as he is the doer and he is the enjoyer himself, because he offers the fruits of labor first to Krishna, so they get sanctified, so they get purified. So this person doesn't have to do any special fire sacrifices or yagyas to become a sannyasi, because this person is living the life of a normal, even a householder if he is in the household life, but he is a truly renounced person. In verse 2, Krishna is further explaining that the renunciation should be known as same as yoga, or yoga is what? Yoga is actually to link oneself to the Supreme. So Krishna is addressing Arjun as, O son of Pandu, For one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desires for sense gratification. So as long as a person hasn't renounced the desires for sense gratification, so if you want to just enjoy yourself purely for your own senses, and that is not going to be conducive for your bhakti, because you will be too much lost in enjoying just yourself. But if you want to, for example, acquire a nice house, and you think that you will live your life together with your family members, and you will be having a devotional service going around in the house, then that will be, in a way, on paper it will be your house. Of course, you'll be paying the bills and everything, but in your heart you know that Lord is the proprietor of all this opulence I have been given in this life, and that way you are not very much attached also to it. So you will be living your life, you will be enjoying everything. For example, a servant who is living in the house of a billionaire, the servant is also enjoying all the opulences the billionaire has acquired in the house. But this is just an analogy. So if you understand, if all the wealth and all the opulences you have got, if you are using them in the service of the Lord, and you understand that you are just a temporary owner of all these opulences in this lifetime, then in spite of being a very wealthy person or very rich person, you won't be very much attached to the opulences or the resources or the wealth you have in this life, because you are conscious of the fact, you are a Krishna conscious person, you are conscious of the fact that all this has been given to me in this life, so I must employ it for the betterment of the society, for giving others the Krishna conscious message I have understood from the scriptures. In verse 3, Lord says that one who is neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, the Ashtanga yoga, which is yam, niyam, dharana, pratyahar, samadhi, asana, everything, the eightfold system. It is said to be the means, and for one who is already elevated in yoga, all the material activities are said to be the means. So the process of linking oneself with the Supreme is yoga, and it may be compared to the ladder for attaining the topmost spiritual realization. Now this ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entities, Prabhupada says, and it rises slowly up to the perfect self-realization in spiritual life. So different parts of this ladder have got different names. For example, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Now the beginning of the ladder is called the Yoga Rurukshu stage. So the beginning of this ladder is called the Yoga Rurukshu stage, and the highest rung is called the Yoga Rudha. So through the following of the regulative principles and the practicing of the different postures, for the asanas the people do in the yoga, are considered fruitive material activities. They are the results which one is hankering for. So all such activities lead to achieving we are actually trying to achieve perfect mental equilibrium by doing all the asanas and the breathing exercise, the pranayams, etc. And we're trying to control our senses. So when one is accomplished in such meditation, they are supposed to be devoid of any mental activities. They are in control of their mind and their body. So this is why people do that. But one thing that person, if that person is not aware of this thing, that who is the Supreme, Krishna is the Supreme, then they are still lacking something, even if they have mastered the yogasanas and the pranayams and everything for their health benefit. But a Krishna conscious person, this person is situated in the meditation from the beginning, because this person has understood Krishna to be the Supreme, and they are thinking of Lord all the time, and they are always engaged in the constant service of Krishna. So if you ask a Krishna conscious person, once they have understood what is their situation in life, they'll be saying that we are actually living our life and doing the bhakti because we've understood what is the purpose of our life. So in spite of doing all the material activities, this person who is also in the bhakti yoga, who is also doing the bhakti of Bhagwan, can be considered somebody who is not at all into material side of life, because they offer all the fruits of their labor to Bhagwan. Because when they're cooking first for Bhagwan, they offer it to Bhagwan, and then they have the remnants of it. In verse 4, a person is said to be elevated in yoga when this person has renounced all the material desires. He neither acts for his own sense gratification nor he engages in any fruitive desires. So such a person is doing all the activities for the satisfaction of the Lord. He is, because the example we just gave is that this person is not just going to cook and just start eating straight away. No, they are going to offer it first to the Lord. We're going to respectfully offer the Lord with the tulsi leaf. Then they will have the prasad. So this person is not very much attached to even the simple process of eating for their own sense enjoyment. In verse 5. Verses 5 to 9, it is about the mind control. They are about the mind control. In verse 5, it is said that mind is the door to the consciousness of any person. So whatever level mind is, that is the conscious level of the person. So one must deliver themselves with the help of the mind and not degrade themselves. So mind is such a thing. Mind is the part of our subtle body. Mind, ego and soul, they are the part of our subtle body. Mind, intelligence and ego, and of course the soul as well. So the mind, it can raise our consciousness or degrade our consciousness. So it's up to us whether we want to use our mind to become higher in consciousness level, or do we want to become lower. So if we want to become of the consciousness that God is the supreme, our souls are part of the God, then we'll be raising our consciousness. So we'll be becoming Krishna conscious. So one must do this. So for a man, mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense objects is the cause of bondage, and the mind detached from the sense objects is the cause of liberation. This is taken from Amrita Bindu Upanishad in the purport. Prabhupada has quoted that. So therefore, a mind which is always engaged in the bhakti or Krishna consciousness is the cause of supreme liberation. In verse 6, it is said that a person who has conquered the mind is the best friend, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. And so verse 6 is all about mind control. So once you have understood that you can control your mind with the help of intelligence, which has given to us by the Lord. All of us have got intelligence. So then we can control the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, illusion, etc. Then we can say that yes, we have got some kind of control on our mind. But if your mind is giving the dictation to you that yes, you should get angry, you should get lusty, you should be illusioned, then in that case you are not in control of your mind. The mind is not your friend in that sense. So it's beautifully written in the purport by Prabhupada that the real yoga practice actually is not just the yoga of the yoga asanas and the pranayams only, though yes, yoga can help you get a strong body, and pranayam and the breathing practice can help you have some good control when you are sitting to do your chanting in the morning. But the real yoga is to meet the Paramatma form of Bhagwan, which is in the heart of all of us, and following the dictation of the Paramatma. Because all of us know that we have instances when we say that my inner voice said this. Who is that inner voice? That's the Paramatma sitting in our hearts. That tells us, that the gut feeling sometimes we refer to as. So for one, taking to Krishna consciousness directly, perfect surrender to the dictation of the Lord follows automatically. The voice coming from inside is not going to misguide us, is going to guide us to do the right action. In verse 7, so it tells about the three levels of dualities of a transcended person. So a person who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached. For this person has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor, all the same. So at the physical body, they have got some control over themselves. So what's the control over physical body? That they can tolerate the dualities of hot and cold, and at the mental level they can have some kind of tranquility or equipoiseness, or the same level, even when it is happiness or distress. And on the level of ego, they can go through the honor and dishonor as well. So they will be their disposition, their how they feel is going to be same, whether it's honor or dishonor. They are not going to take these things, these dualities of life to the heart, whether the duality is at the level of physical level, which is feeling of heat and cold, or whether it is at the mental level, which is the happiness and distress, and whether it's at the level of ego, which is getting honored or dishonored. Because this person this is again nicely explained in the purport by Prabhupada, that the mind must admit some higher dictation, a superior dictation, and follow it. The effect of controlling mind is that one automatically follows the dictation of Paramatma or Super Soul. Because they understand that within each of us we have got the part of Lord, which is Paramatma, with our souls. So they understand that whatever is happening, even if it's at the physical level, it will pass, the seasons will change, they are not permanent. And whether it's at the mental level, they also understand the happiness and distress. There are like seasons, they come and go. And same with anything at the level of ego, for example, feeling of honor and dishonor, man or apman, as we say in Hindi. these people have understood that they are all temporary situations in this life, and they don't have to lose the equiposition of their mind. They have to stay equipoised. They have to stay in a on a level-headed level. They have to stay. So their state is practically this state is practically a state of samadhi or trance in the absorption of the Supreme Lord. So in verse 8, Krishna is telling that a person is said to be established in self-realization or is called a yogi or mystic when this person has fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Now this person is supposed to be situated in transcendence or self-control, because this person is going to see everything same, whether it is pebbles, stones, gold, that will be all same for this person. So how the knowledge moves towards realization, from once your mind is under control, you understand that we all have got the super soul within our heart, within our next to our souls, and superstition, or sometimes we say the gut feeling, because then that is like contemplating, heading towards the gyan, the knowledge. Now applying what is coming from within you, that is called vigyan. And the desires, the karmis, the ordinary laymen, they always have lots of doubts, and they have lots of desires, they're always full of desires. They want this, they want that. And the Gyanis, they have lots of doubts. The scholars, they have got lots of doubts, as we know. And these two things, the desires and the doubts, they are obstacles in reaching Krishna. Because any ordinary person who is still not on the path of bhakti, this person is going to be so much absorbed in their desires. They want to achieve this, they want to achieve that. They haven't got time for anything else. And the person who is very scholarly, who is very jnani, this person is always going to raise doubts, and they will make it hard for themselves to understand Krishna. So in the purport, it said that no one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his mentally contaminated senses. Only when becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord, when you start serving the Lord, because we should understand Lord is also a person who has got similar qualities to us, but those qualities are unlimited in quantity. That's the difference between us and the Lord. When we start serving the Lord in devotional service, then slowly our contamination of our senses will go away, and they will get purified, and then we will be able to say the name of Lord and appreciate the form and the qualities and the pastimes given in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, nicely. Bhagavad Gita is the science of Krishna consciousnness. Prabhupada says this again and again in his purports. So simply by becoming Krishna conscious, simply by going to the universities, you're not going to understand Krishna at all, because that is a different kind of education over there, which is how to earn some livelihood in this life, how to generate money, how for our living. So the transcendental knowledge is only going to come to us but it's only going to come by the grace of Krishna. So until and unless Krishna is going to give us some grace, is going to shower his mercy on us through some devotees whose association will come to us, and we will understand the meaning of the scriptures, the understand the sadhana bhakti, then only we will have the Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness is going to come through the pure devotional service of Krishna, and also going to come by the grace of Krishna. So until and unless Krishna is going to be merciful to us, it's not going to come to us. Sometimes it might take years if we'll be just just living with our desires of I want this, I want that. There's no time for bhakti, no time to read anything about Krishna, or no time in the day to just do even one japa round, because yes, my life is so busy. And if you are just doing this scholarly thing, like trying to understand like that, then also you won't be able to understand, because you'll be always raising doubts everywhere. Why it is like this, why it is like that. So you need to have the mercy of Krishna in your life as well. The kripa, like we said, that we got to have the kripa of Bhagwan in our life to understand Krishna and his pastimes. So finally, in verse 9, which is again about mind, it is told that having more doubts is more dangerous than having desires, because you can fulfill your desires by achieving something, yes, and you'll be saying, yes, this desire has been fulfilled, so something on my bucket list has been ticked, so I've achieved it, so I'm happy. But if you keep having more and more doubts, it'll be difficult to advance in bhakti. So a person who will have reached this stage, who hasn't got doubts, who is in bhakti, he'll be able to chant nicely the names of God and thus purify their heart. And this person is called more advanced, because this person is equal to all their well-wishers, whether they are honest well-wishers or the affectionate benefactors, the neutrals, the envious, the friends and enemies, so the sinners or the pious, all with an equal mind. So this person, he or she will be able to see all the people with an equipoise state of mind. So that stage will come slowly to us once we chant the names of Bhagwan nicely, and that is going to purify our hearts. Then that is going to make us samdarshi, that is going to make us controlled in our mind. We'll be acting, our mind will be our friend on our spiritual journey, and we'll be able to progress nicely, and we'll be able to make good choices in our bhakti. We can achieve the state of peacefulness, and we'll be separated kind of from the dualities of life. We won't be too much lamenting or getting annoyed at the dualities of life, whether it is the dualities of the sufferings of the body or the mind or our ego. We'll be able to go through them, because we would understand the sufferings are all due to this body, and we understand that this body is not permanent. It is not that we have to live with this one body forever. It is going to leave us. The conscious is going to leave it one day, when it won't be appropriate for it to carry on in this journey for the soul. So verses 6 to 9, they tell us very nicely about the mind control in Dhyana Yoga, chapter 6. They are worth reading. There are so many classes also about it on the YouTubes. So please take advantage of them, and you can also read these verses and make your mind your best friend, or your mind should be under your control. Don't get under the dictation of your mind. You should realize that there is super soul in our hearts, that is the form of the God in all of our hearts, and we should try to listen to that voice and get our desires sanctioned from the super soul, and then act accordingly. And that super soul is going to be so happy when we'll be able to feed our souls by reading the scriptures, by understanding the instructions of the Lord, and live the life nicely. So don't worry that you will be living the life of a very poor person if you'll be becoming a bhakt of Bhagwan. No, it is not the case. You'll be able to live your life nicely. You'll be able to earn your livings nicely. You will be able to live through the life in a proper way under the guidance of Krishna, which Krishna has given in this chapter, Dhyana Yoga, and all the remaining chapters, chapter 1 to 18 in Bhagavad Gita. So I will join you again tomorrow. Please listen to the voice of your super soul and the antaratma, like we say sometimes, and live your life nicely. And please offer your ghee lamps in this month of Damodar to Lord Damodar, and listen to the pastimes of Damodar Leela. You can watch Hare Krishna TV for Damodar Ashtakam morning and evening if you're in India, and otherwise you can just watch it on YouTube later on. And we will see you next time. Hare Krishna, Hari Om Tat Sat.